Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com. And recently, ZeniMax Online Studio on the public test server has nerfed the one major survivability skill the Magpar has, and that's Living Dark. I'm going to explain what this nerf is, how it's going to affect the landscape of PvE and PvP, and is this going to trash the Templar? Currently, the way the skill works is it scales off of weapon, spell damage, and or max health, so it gives you some flexible option and heals you every half second depending on those values. Thus, the Magpar has this really fun, aggressive playstyle, jumping in, healing a lot, and being super fun up close in melee range. Well, what's going to happen now? We're going to have to find out. Let me show you the results. So we need to do an apples to apples comparison. So let's make 100% sure my character is set up the way it is on the PTS, okay? We're just going to do a duel here. Let's make sure combat metrics is on, and we're going to see how much this heals for. And yeah, let's get a comparison with the duel. So Living Dark here, it did critically heal, and on the live server we got 2,500, so that was fully buffed and amplified pretty good. So 2,500 max heal, and looks like the average was 875, which is quite low. So it has a wide range of outcomes, Living Dark does, in its current state. But the upside is you can run Olamai or Rallying Cry, something else to really jack up your spell damage, and this thing will heal like an absolute hammer. Same thing it applies with Templars as well. So I'm going to put Living Dark up, unbuffed, go ahead. So 985, it's not even hitting for 1,000. Battle Spirit should cut it in half. 985. God, that's it. See, 1,500 crit. Okay, Magma Incarnate's up now. So I'm going to use a potion for major sorcery. I'm going to use degen and then minor sorcery just to test it. So Living Dark's back up, okay. And still 985. Okay, now Purifying Light procs. Let's move out of it quick. I'm going to use Channel Focus for major mending, or minor mending, excuse me. Now go ahead. I'll move out of it. So light tag me. Looks like minor mending did ramp it up a little bit. So let's do another test. Let me do major mending. So we'll get Living Dark up, fully charged, and I'll switch bars. Now, light attack. 1,000, 1,100. Okay. It crit for 1,500. So if I have minor and major mending, let's try that. So this, fully charged, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead. 1875 on a crit. So, like, if I go rapid regen, that's 1,600 non-crit, right? 2,500. But that's every second. Where Living Dark, if I'm getting dogpiled, is at least 1,000 heals every half second. So you would assume that that's basically 2,000 heals per second still. It might be a flex spot. You can or cannot run this. And you don't have to be pigeonholed into running high spell damage sets. But initial impressions is it's a flexibility now and not a mandatory slot in PvP. The downside of it is it got adjusted, but it still has an enormous magic cost. So it has 3,800, and there's no way to really make it more effective beyond major and minor mending, whereas rapid regen cost 2,400 magic and resolving vigor costs 2,700 even on a Magpar. It's too expensive, and I think even on a Magpar main at 3,800 just gonna sink all my magic when I can rely primarily on Purifying Light, Puncturing Sweeps, and flex this out for maybe even Radiating Glory or some other skill like Solar Barrage. And I still will lose a little bit of survivability, but if I have Purifying Light and I do some heals from another thing, it's just too expensive, too costly for PvP for me to run on my build, I'm thinking right now, because 3,800 magic, especially on a Templar. Templar, that's going to be a gazillion magic. You're not going to be able to sustain it where you can just rely on a burst heal from Honor the Dead. So we're going to switch to a PvE context just for the sake of argument. Let's see what this thing heals for. So I'm just going to grab up some mobs here. Now let's just see while this is just nailing me, what this heals for. Okay. Just gonna maintain Living Dark. That's all I'm maintaining. Now let's check this puppy out. Oh boy. Wow, PvE, this thing heals like an absolute nuclear missile. This was 3,600, and if you remember PvP, it gets cut in half because of Battle Spirit, so it down to about 2,300, I think was what we're at, roughly. But in a PvE context, without Battle Spirit being affected, this thing is a really juicy heal. And this is on the live server now, so we can hop over to the PTS and see how these change both in PvE and PvP context, because I think it's going to be a lot. Let's go check it out. All right, so we're going to try a comparison here on the PTS and see what Living Dark heals for. We obviously know it's about 2,000. Just checking out if it can crit or it scales up any higher. So here we go, Living Dark, Purifying. My potion's up, so I got Major and Minor Sorcery going. So let's see what it's doing for. 2,100, 2,149, crit for 3,200 there. Okay. So that's actually quite comparable in a PvE context here, okay? So that was about roughly the same. So it's Living Dark in a PvE context. I'm not able to pull up the combat metrics, but from just looking at it, it was healing for right about 2,000, obviously, as the tooltip suggests. And it was critting pretty high, so still pretty good. So not that bad in terms of PvE. My health bar did move significantly more than it would in PvP. Dang, that's a video. What do you think about these changes? My personal opinion is, with the skill cost and duration and the amount of healing specifically in PvP, I don't think it's worth running anymore if these changes stick. The reason being is it costs an enormous amount of magic, it doesn't last very long, and the healing really can't get amplified by your gear. It takes a lot of the uniqueness, a lot of the flavor out of the Magpar. Will it still be really, really good? Absolutely. But I'm just going to go play a magic DK or a magic necro like everybody else, or at least take the skill off my bar. Now, in a PvE context, kind of the same boat here. Really high magic costs, really short duration. I think the average or beginner player can use this effectively. With so many shields and ways to heal yourself and survive as a magic build, this might not be something you're going to use at endgame especially. No, I'm not going to get my shovel out. I think it needs a nerf, but I think ZeniMax can do a little bit better job, still making the uniqueness a part of the Magpar and the super aggressive meathead playstyle a staple in the class. Thanks for watching.